Welcome to WAM Up, the worst show on welcome to WAM.
After hours.
Episode, what are we, 13? Episode 13?
Lucky number 13, yeah.
Yeah, just like how GameStop, well, I guess, did GameStop get anything from this? We watched Dumb Money.
Yeah,
But-
we watched Dumb Money.
Yeah.
Okay, from what I know about this was a temporal thing. This lasted a decent amount of months, but at the end of the day, like, having stock gives you options, but people still weren't buying it, and GameStop knew that they weren't going to get more sales from this, so they could invest that stock into anything. Because at the end of the day, they knew if we spend this money, and then when it starts to fall back down, we'll have nothing.
That's fair. Harry Osborn being there and Wilson Fisk was really surprising. But either way, we did watch Dumb Money this weekend. That I don't even know if it's fully released yet. I just saw it at the Cinemark headquarters is near me, so the theaters around us get movies a little bit earlier, and then Nolan saw it at. How did you see it? I don't.
Fawn's PR is very nice. I applied for a job. They said no, but you can watch this. Well, no, that's not exactly what happened, but it's basically what happened.
They said they denied your request and said, "Hey, but you can watch this if you want."
They gave me a money clip that had Dumb Money on it.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, and the cheeky little poster where it's I'm sure you saw this poster where it's money flipping you off.
Oh yeah, I did see that.
Yeah.
Overall, Dumb Money, hour 45 runtime. Really one of the shortest movies that we've covered on WAM, I think.
Yeah.
But I think the runtime was fine for it. I don't think it. I think if we went longer, I wouldn't have known what story to tell. You know.
Oh yeah, I mean, even at its current runtime, it's a bare bones story somewhat, but they fill it pretty well with pretty relevant stuff.
Yeah, because this was based off there was a book written about the GameStop squeeze that happened.
The Antisocial Network.
Yeah,
I think that's what it's called.
And this whole movie was based off that book. And in the book, obviously we haven't read it, so we don't know what it goes into. But
read it.
This movie, constantly you have I'll say a handful of characters that they aren't really involved with our main character at all. They're just normal people who are investing and kind of watching it, and we get to see the whole thing unfurl through their eyes a lot of the time.
Yeah.
That helps give us a lot of insight into, like, say if you didn't know this was going on when it did, you can see how people felt and reacted to it, you know?
No, I mean, that's probably one of the best aspects and part of creativity that this movie has. We're seeing sort of our main character. I think his name is Ken, right?
I don't know. You mean the Kitty Man?
Paul Dano? Yeah, Roaring Kitty, who's played
Kitty.
by Paul Dano. We see him. Yeah, he was great in this because he plays a character he's very used to playing, which is sort of this like timid, a little likable guy. Yeah, but he's finally a protagonist, which I thought, I'm very happy for him. He's finally the star of his movie.
I think he did really well, and I do hope he gets more lead roles, but I don't want to see him as the same, sheepish, kind of more soft-spoken guy in every single movie. And when he was the Riddler, that was a little bit different. But it was still a lot. Besides when he had the mask on, it was still pretty much that soft-spoken kind of character. But in those scenes with really tense emotions and everything, I think he did really well conveying them without just red-faced screaming kind of thing. We still understood what he was going through. What were you saying?
Yeah. If you want to see him like with a large range, There Will Be Blood is incredible. He plays like this really like aggressive priest, and it works really well.
That sounds really cool.
Yeah, it was okay. I saw it in theaters when like nothing was around, so they're like, okay, we're just gonna replay this, and it was good.
That's so crazy. I don't care.
You can't keep doing this to me.
But the movie starts off where we're with Seth Rogen, and he's a
hedge fund manager.
Yeah. And they what is it? They insure GameStop or something like that.
They're shorting it in some sense.
Yeah, I don't he has something to do with GameStop, they've been doing it for a long time, whatever. Seth Rogen is our big CEO guy in this kind of
Mhm.
story,
Well, he's not
and
even
then
our biggest CEO, but he's sort of like the
he's the
bottom
main
tier.
yeah. Yeah, he's the like, the new guy there, and
Mhm.
everyone else is like, "Oh, this poor guy," and, just, like, whenever he calls for investors, they have this big eat shit grin on their face the whole time, and, like, Seth Rogen knows exactly, like, that's what's happening,
Yeah,
but
look
either
at this
way
fucking idiot.
yeah, so we start off with Seth Rogen and fucking WAP. Why did they have to play WAP at the
I
start of the
t
movie? The
I
first
told
5
you.
minutes in.
I told you.
Dude, it was so much there was so much TikTok shit. It was I
Well
was so upset.
well
I was like at first I thought you were just talking about Seth Rogen or something, and I was like, I don't know what no one could be saying was so bad. And then immediately I heard boom, boom, boom. No, like, no, or that's the other
there's
whatever.
some
That's not
whores in
fair.
this house. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
I told him specifically, "Hey, the first 5 minutes, you're gonna wanna walk out. Just stay in your seat." Um,
I It's horrible.
this is the consequence of having a biopic movie that takes place, like, like, maybe less than 2 years after it happened. Like,
Yeah, I mean, I can't say any of it was inaccurate.
no,
Like,
absolutely not.
yeah, motherfuckers love doing that savage dance,
He did it
especially
so well in
GameStop
that movie
employees.
too.
He did re I wonder how many times he practiced or if he just knew it.
He's in movies, I just don't remember what movies he's in, but he was good. The GameStop employee that they show
Mhm.
owning stock as, like, a side character.
Yeah.
He
Um,
he's
the
he's
the
very good in it.
I think it's 3 groups of side characters we have. We have a
Yep.
nurse who's a mother,
Mhm.
we have 2 college students, and then we
UT
have
Austin.
one of them's in debt, like big boy debt,
Mhm.
and then the 3rd one,
The nurse?
yeah, no, I just said then. What was the other one we started with?
GameStop?
Yeah, GameStop.
Yeah.
That was the 3. And what I liked about those characters is that we're gonna jump around a little bit just because a lot of this movie is a little slower, but it'll help, whatever.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but whenever they introduce these characters and their money problems, they all do have some sort of financial issue that they want to either help or they just need help on.
Mhm.
Being like debt or to being alone with 2 kids or whatever it is. Or
Or
just
working
spending
at
more money at GameStop.
GameStop.
Yeah, that's rough too.
That's the
But
worst one, man.
the way they go about it is you hear their struggles in conversation, and like the 2 nurses, they just kind of casually drop like their yearly income, and like
Mhm.
that's it. And then maybe I'll say 20 minutes later, then we learn she has 2 kids and she's a single mother. And that's all we really hear about it, and that's all we really need because we immediately know, like, what she needs the money for, her motives behind it, and
Mhm.
everything, and even with the college students and the GameStop employee, I never felt like we were being fed information, like, "Oh my god,
No.
we need money now or my baby's gonna die of cancer." Like, there was no big thing like that, it was just, "Yeah, more money would be nice right now," kinda thing,
Yeah.
and
I
I think
mean
that was really good, I like that.
mhm. Motivations and information on our world. I think the biggest thing that makes a good movie good and a bad movie bad is going to be how they give us the plot, how
Mhm,
you deal with exposition. I'm very surprised it did it as good as it did in this movie. Using Twitch streams to sort of serve as giving exposition is a
mhm,
really well thought out thing because that's just literally what happens. That's what a Twitch streamer has to
yeah,
do. He has to give you all that information.
and
Um,
through the yeah,
and then also through I guess what is it? Non-diegetic means using the subtitles. It was very good at doing that since we see them sort of label net worth and
mhm,
stuff like that and give us information. Very well
yeah,
done.
and, like, even when they did that, it wasn't big in your face, it was a little text kind of next to them where, like, you could have missed it if you really weren't paying attention, but it
Yeah.
wasn't just this whole movie, I didn't feel like I was treated stupid, you know?
Yeah.
And uh, just through all the characters in this movie, really, I never felt like I stayed with them too long. I think they all had the perfect amount of screen time. I
Mhm.
didn't really want to know any more about anyone or know any less. And I can't think of any scene specifically where I just like don't want it in here. Besides
Mhm.
maybe the WAP sound, but that's really it. You
Yeah.
could just mute it.
The best thing they have about pacing is and many movies have failed in this. Pete Davidson. This
Mm,
movie has Pete Davidson in it playing a character that he usually plays, where he's just like a deadbeat that's
yeah,
like bad with money, but is funny.
yeah,
He's in it for a perfect amount of time.
yeah,
He's in
he's
it to
great
be
comic relief.
great comic relief, and he's gone when things need to be serious. And there's a little bit of a connection they show with Paul Dano, who's his brother. And there are maybe some more emotional scenes. Obviously, the acting
Mhm.
range on Pete Davidson isn't great, so it's like, I don't know, sort of
There's some
just
more
like a
emotion for what his character could be. His character was pretty much like douchey little brother kind of thing, and
yeah.
so there isn't too much emotion you can put in that without it feeling, like, kinda canned, and I
Hmm.
think what they did was good. Like, at one point, he buys him a pair of shoes, that they tell a story about earlier in the movie where, like, he won them in a race and then they got stolen,
Yeah.
um and then his brother, whatever, Pete Davidson buys new Nikes for him, as, all
Hmm.
this stock stuff is happening and exploding, and it is a nice bit of, emotional connection with the 2 as our main character, Paul, is, going through all that stuff, and I guess we can start running through the movie through,
Yeah,
um,
sure.
like, at the start yeah, at the start, we get Seth Rogen, and then are we introduced to how are we introduced to Paul? I think he was just walking to work, right?
Well, we're introduced to Paul with him on the track.
Yeah.
We see him go to this sort of track a lot. We first see sort of this 6 months before situation where we have a ton of fund managers losing money, and they're like, "Oh, what the fuck?" And then it cuts to like a photo of like Paul Dano on the news, and they're like, "Who's this asshole?" And then 6 months earlier, we see him just sort of running around the track, and we see his household is like very calm, and he has a nice wife. She, by the way, was the protagonist in the Divergent movies, if you don't know.
I didn't, but that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm glad that she has like a role as like, a romantic partner, but something
Mhm.
that's stable, something that
Yeah,
is like good for her. It's almost as if like I don't know. I don't know how to
it
phrase it.
fits, it works. It's
Yeah,
good. Yeah.
she was
Um,
great in this movie.
mhm. Really everyone in this movie, I can't think of anyone that I was like I just didn't enjoy their performance at all.
Yeah. I think
Um,
Sebastian Stan was wasted. Maybe that's about it.
who?
Sebastian Stan, we saw him in The Martian last week. He's the guy who plays the Winter Soldier. He was
Oh,
the
oh, oh, Soul Patch, yeah.
Yeah, he was the CEO of Robin
Robin
Hood.
Hood. Yeah, the co-CEO.
Yeah.
So yeah,
But
we get into we're with Paul. He gets back home. There he was at lunch with a friend. He starts telling him about GameStop. His friend's like, "You're
mhm.
a fucking idiot." His friend's a big Wall Street boy.
Yeah, yeah.
And his friend's like, "You're an idiot. Don't do that." And he's like, "I put 50 grand, 53,000 in it already." And they're all like, "You're a dumbass." And then he goes downstairs. He makes a little Twitch stream to the Redditors that he calls gangsters that will rip him apart. It's so funny. And then he goes, yeah, goes back downstairs, does his little Twitch stream as what is it, Kitty? What
Roaring
is it?
Kitty.
Roaring Kitty. With
Yeah.
a red like ninja headband he puts on. It's just
And
so
his
funny.
little neon kitty
Yeah.
shirt.
And at the very end of the movie, they show a clip of the actual guy where he's I just like the stock, and I love that. That was so cool.
Yeah.
Um,
Uh I will say one thing that you look back on it, none of these characters look like the people they're supposed to be playing, but they
mhm.
encapsulate the characters so well that who cares?
Yeah, I think I mean, yeah, like I said, just everyone does amazing in this movie. They all know exactly what the role is, and they don't really try to step out of it in any
Mhm.
way. And they let the main character shine, and don't try to be like, "Oh, but they're cool too," kind of thing. It's mostly
Yeah.
about him. Um, yeah.
And then what I love most about how they depict the Twitch stream is I think they show internet culture pretty well,
Mhm.
mostly because they're like, yeah, these guys are going to be saying slurs every once in a while. What are you going to do about it?
Yeah, and then the insults and everything. I
The
mean,
tendies.
yeah, the tendies. I think the best way to, I guess, summarize the movie is what it is that he came in, our main character Paul invested all this money into GameStop, and him doing that drove the stock up tons, and he started
Yeah.
making videos
He
about it on
inspired a
Twitch and
lot of
posting on
people.
the Reddit, and so everyone else started jumping on it, and so he was going to the moon. It was flying. He made
Hmm.
what was it? It was like they made like 55 million or something or 5 million one day, and like whatever
Yeah,
at the
he
high
made
point of the movie
$5 million in a day.
Yeah, at the like, at the peak. Um, and the whole time, it's this constant battle between all the side characters and the main character of, "How far can we take this? Are we gonna sell? Should we sell?"
Mhm.
Um, and then that is really the main driving force, through majority of the movie until, our main character gets subpoenaed, um, and or not subpoenaed, he gets, served.
Yeah.
Subpoenaed? Is that
I
I don't know.
think it would be subpoenaed, at least to
That
show up to a congressional hearing for an investigation.
Yeah, I guess so, on his Zoom meeting. Um, yeah, but he gets served papers because they were saying it was like what? It was like malicious, I guess?
Manipulation of the stock market. There
Mm.
are a few ways in which people can point to that being manipulation of the stock market,
Well, yeah, because
telling
he
a
told
mass
everyone to yeah, to
yeah.
buy it.
He specified where he's like, "Hey, I'm giving advice that I'm following. I only tell people and I only post my stock after hours, which is apparently what most people say is legal." Stuff like that.
When the market closes, yeah, that's the only
Yeah.
time you ever post the stuff.
Mhm.
Um, and so through the movie, that is our main driving force is just the thought of should we sell it, and then, up until the very end of, is he gonna be tried and put in jail? Although it's not as big of a point I thought they would make it.
Yeah.
It seemed like it would be a much bigger thing, and it's kind of like, I just got served papers by, like, from the US Congress," and then, like, that's the biggest moment that they have where they're all freaking out about it, and then they're just doing the meeting,
Yeah. I
and, like,
mean,
that's
there's
kinda it, which is
z
okay.
yeah, Zoom calls are very hard to make, super scary.
Yeah,
Uh,
we you can't raise the stakes in that without making it, untrue to the time
yeah,
because it was right after the pandemic, I think, or
sh
right before, I don't know.
no, this starts in the pandemic in 2020. Overall,
Yeah.
this movie shows that incredibly well, and I think this
Mhm.
is our first COVID, biopic. The only other movie which isn't like a biopic that I know used COVID in storytelling was, Knives Out 2.
That's true. I do think, going forward, I am nervous, that people will use COVID stuff as a crutch for some
Mhm.
storytelling things.
Yeah,
But
it
in
could
this
happen.
movie, it wasn't a point that they made, it was just how it was at the time. And it
Yeah.
wasn't like it didn't matter to the story, it's just how the world was.
I will
Um
say,
Hmm.
I thought it was really funny when we're sort of in the when we started talking about Zoom calls, the Seth Rogen character, who he
Oh,
did
with him
great in this.
sprinting?
Well, with him sprinting, but I also love the idea that that like he had a team of professionals tell him where he needs to put his camera during the Zoom meeting so he doesn't appear like a rich asshole.
Yeah, at the when everyone's gonna talk to him about how his firm's doing and, like, how they're drowning and everything because since GameStop's flying. Um, he first of all, he gets on the Zoom call and then he's like, "I can't do this. I'm sorry. Bye." And then, like,
Yeah,
just
that
slowly
was for
closes
his
the laptop.
interview for the news.
Yeah, he's like, "Dude," he's like, "I can't. I'm sorry. Bye." Literally. It was really good. And every time he has to get on the phone or anything, he's in a different house and then sprints out the back door and through, like, multiple, like, hedges and, like, a few houses, and just booking it as fast as he can to this other house, with his computer in it. And it's so funny. They do it, like, 3 or 4 times. It's so good. It's
Well,
just
that's what
I
he
love seeing
gets.
Seth Rogen book it.
Because he bought in the story, he bought his neighbor's house so that he
Mhm.
would demolish it to turn it into his tennis court, so he wouldn't be bored during COVID. What an
COVID's almost over and there's no tennis court.
what God, what a like his character isn't really highlighted as being like a super asshole throughout all of it, but
They could, but they didn't.
that line made me hate him so much.
I just thought it was funny where he's like, "Well, my wine collection really is it's huge." Okay. Um, it's just there are a lot of really good, dry comedic moments like
Oh
that in this
yeah.
movie that are fantastic.
Mhm.
And it really if those weren't in it, this movie would have been a drag because it was a slow burn.
Mhm.
I mean yeah.
Uh, one person that does the best at this dry comedy, who isn't even on the like main headers for these actors, is Clancy Brown. Did you notice him in this movie?
Who is he?
Mr. Krabs,
Oh, yeah, I did
Paul
notice
Dano's
Mr.
dad.
Krabs. How would you not notice Mr. Krabs?
God, he was so good in this, and there was like nothing
He
in
wasn't
of
there
him
a
in the
lot
trailer.
though.
He
Yeah.
wasn't there a lot, but when he was, oh, he's the best.
Yeah, it was good. He was quite silly.
Connor, get the fuck over here.
Connor. Yeah, she should have just started talking to him like he was a CyberLife android. I think that really would have been good.
Detroit become tendies.
Connor, buy 2,000 shares of GameStop. Yes, Lieutenant. That'd be great. But yeah, so this movie is a real slow burn because, like we said, the story is he's buying stock. Majority of the movie is debating if he should sell it or not.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then the end of it, it's just okay, we're selling it, but we might get in legal trouble, and then it's
Mm-hmm.
over.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that's bad. For this story and this movie, I think it works fine. But
Yeah.
in other scenarios, in other stories, just because this is specifically like literally just Redditors banding together, buying a stock, it goes crazy, and then that's it. That's
Mm-hmm.
the story. So I think it's hard to make a compelling story with that, but including all those other personal stories in it, and then seeing like
Mm-hmm.
how much they made or how much they didn't by the end of the movie gives you a stronger connection to those characters and to like the event overall, I guess, because you feel more included in it. And there's a
Mm-hmm.
constant stream of information where we're not
Yeah.
hearing the same problems over and over again. It's constantly a new problem. Okay, now Robin Hood needs $3 billion to do all these transfers and they don't have it. We have to shut down buying. Okay, now we're
Mm-hmm.
getting subpoenaed. Okay, now whatever. There was a few different problems in the movie that they just kept moving on. They didn't stay on one thing for too long, and I
Mm-mm.
think that was a really good choice because if they did, it would have totally dragged.
No, absolutely. It is a I think it's a creative marvel that this
Hmm.
movie wasn't a bore.
Yeah,
Like this
I
is
was fully expecting it to be.
yeah, with everything that you kept in mind, seeing this is a movie that was made in like an event that happened in 2 years, so we don't have any like I guess what clairvoyance on the situation. Like
Hmm.
we're going in barely realizing what happened.
Yeah.
We have this cast that sort of feels like a mismatch. Paul Dano could have been a wild card in this situation for him to finally be the protagonist.
It was
It's
a
just
big cast for how normal of a movie it was. Do you know what I mean?
yeah, I mean this it like the writers of this did something that I would say is like almost impossible to make this story interesting. Fuck. That
Man.
was my alarm.
Anyway, yeah, I agree completely. Um, I don't think there's really any way you could go about this movie and this story. In like, if you wanted to fit more action into this movie, it would just have to be completely fabricated. Like the most action-packed part is near the end of the movie when their subreddit gets shut down and they can't talk to each other. He's our main character sends chicken to all the big stockbrokers like
Oh
houses.
yeah, that was
Says like
weird.
from the Tendy Man, and that was so funny. It was just Seth Rogen holding a bucket of KFC, looking scared into the distance, and all you hear is fucking holy shit, what's his name? All you hear is Pete Davidson in the distance, just like "fuck you" or some shit he says. It's so funny. It's so good, or it sounds like Pete Davidson. I don't know if it
Yeah,
was because I
I
guess
don't
that
think
wouldn't
it
really make
was.
sense. But either way, it was the guy said some shit. It was funny.
Yeah,
Um,
God.
but this movie. Let me open my notes. um. Ooh. Okay. Big problem I had with the movie. Huge
Okay,
issue. Are you ready?
huge issue. Yeah, I'm prepared.
So fucking Harry Osborn had a little fucking rat tail at the back of his head. What the fuck? That was so gross. And then he took his mask off and he has braces and a little like porn stash. Ugh. It
He
was
looked
so
like
bad. It was
fuck.
so gross.
He looked like a McPoyle, if you know who those guys are.
No. What the
The
fuck
Mc
is that?
the McPoyles are like an incest family group that are in It's Always
Oh.
Sunny in Philadelphia.
Oh, I don't know that. I only know the real incest family that like one of them like barks like a dog because he never learned how to speak. Do you know about that?
What?
Okay.
What do you
There's,
mean?
there's this family.
What do you
I forget what
mean?
state they're in. There's this
Missouri.
family
It
where
has to be Missouri.
probably it's somewhere in the South. Where they're in
Missouri's
this like
not in the
rundown like shit house. and I think there are 4 kids, and the mother's still alive. I don't know if the father was there, and all
Wow.
of the kids are, like, severely like, the mother and father were brother and sister, and then their
Mhm.
parents were also or something like that, so it was
Holy
deep.
shit.
And all of the
Royal
kids have
bloodline.
severe, like, mental problems, like, they can't communicate, their eyes don't look quite straight, like, a ton of stuff,
Mm.
and he asked the reporter he goes back every few years and talks to him, um, and when the guy came back the second year, he was like, "Oh, where's this guy?" And the kid that can only or the man really that's like in his 60s, I'll say, that can only bark, brings him over and he's like, "Nah, nah," and that's literally like how he communicates and like drags him over and points to a mound of dirt across the street. And when he's like, "Where's your brother?" He points to the mound of dirt. It's so chilling. It's so freaky, but
Oh
like
my god.
they seem so nice, but it's so sad. Like, I feel so bad for them. If you have
Oh
time,
my god.
I don't after you listen to WAM, because it's the best podcast on the internet, go look that up on
Oh,
YouTube. It's so, like, just crazy interesting.
that's like something from Red Dead 2.
Dude, it was.
Jesus.
It really is. Um in the movie, there's a few transitions I really enjoyed. One thing that they used was music to like,
Mhm.
characters listening to music to transfer from one to the other. I thought that was really
Yeah.
smooth. I liked it a lot. Um, and it also just made it feel like we're our own little world kinda thing. Because "Oh, they're listening to the
Mhm.
same song, that's funny." And then the towards the end of the movie where our main character Paul goes like his wife goes, "How much did we make today? How much did we make yesterday?" And then it cuts to Seth Rogen and his wife or, "How much did we lose today? How
A
much did we
billion.
lose yesterday?"
A
And I think
billion.
that's yeah, I think it's a really good contrast between the 2, and there was just a lot of moments like that where you kept switching between the 2, and
Mhm.
it just I mean, this whole movie, I don't think you could make it any better, make this story any better.
Yeah.
They just did amazing.
I think more than anything, it's incredible how we had a protagonist and an antagonist that never met, that have
Mhm.
never talked to each other,
They didn't even
but
interact, yeah,
they're
besides
literally
playing
just
together.
fueled by ideology. It's the
Mhm.
idea of I want money and this other guy going, "You don't deserve that money."
Yeah, and towards the end of the movie, our character, he gets I think it's before he gets served papers, he gets, fired from his job where he's told, like, "Hey, you can quit or you can resign."
Yeah.
Or no, you can quit or you can get fired. Um, and all of those points and, like, the house kinda falling down at one raised the stakes enough, but like I said, there was never any, like, big, "Oh, shit, what's happening?" moment. It was just they were constantly rising, and they just had to deal with what was going on, and I
Yeah.
really enjoyed that because I mean, like I said at the start, I didn't feel like an idiot. They were like, "Okay, these are the problems." There was no one that sat down like, "Okay, guys, how are we gonna solve this?" We just started working the issue, and I'm
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I just really liked it. We were straight into it.
I feel like this movie was very good at dual targeting itself for a
Mm.
general audience who's going to figure out what's going on based on what they said, and somebody who maybe was like even buying stock during it, like from GameStop during this time. It
Oh, yeah.
feels like a good mix of like everyone will understand this and people who are experts can find enjoyment in it.
I don't know a ton about the stock market and everything, like, the most I have in investing is through an app called Acorns, like, it does it for me, but
Guys, I'm
the
so glad to announce our first sponsor.
sponsor, Acorns not sponsored. We like walnuts better, or not walnuts, pine cones.
The
Anyway,
nut job.
the nut job. Hey, the nut job too, alright? Um,
We went back for seconds.
back for seconds. Couldn't keep our hand out of the nut jar, could we?
Got
Anyway,
my hands on my nuts.
back to dumb money. Um Um, I mean, I don't really know how much more we can say about it. Obviously, a lot of this movie you do just have to see for yourself, and
Yeah.
it isn't. It's not a movie for everybody, but it did do that general audience catering really well because
Yeah.
they boiled all of the terms down really easy, so
Mhm.
that when they're talking, it's casual and they're not using big ass investment words that a normie wouldn't know. Um,
Don't
but
say
instead,
normie.
like, but
Jesus
the CAD
Christ.
redditors would know. So it's
Oh god.
oh, there was one quote that I did write down. When they shut down the subreddit and everyone started selling, a guy in the news said, "So if you're a retail investor or a Reddit user, you're in a real bit of pain right now," and that was just really funny to me.
Um, oh god, I had a thought. It's
You did.
gone. It's completely
Oh,
gone. I have a
what a
second
shame.
thought.
Oh,
Um, the, the there's this for my opinion, there's maybe too much licensed music in this, especially whenever you could hear the original score, it sounded really nice. I liked the original score. It felt pretty fitting.
I can't think of what it sounded like, but that's probably
Yeah.
good. Like,
I
if it fit in the movie so well that I didn't even realize it was there, it probably did it well.
Yeah. And then I have another thought. I
Mm.
remembered what it was.
God, you're
This
on a roll today, huh?
Yeah. 2, baby, let's go for 3.
Woo! Alright, yeah.
Um, this movie pairs really well if you wanna watch, like, a doubleheader. You could do Wolf of Wall Street, and then Dumb Money will, like, put you to bed.
Yeah. It's good, it'll tuck you in.
Yeah, it'll tuck you in, it's comforting.
It was a
It's a
good I
Wolf
saw
of
this
Wall
at
Street, but nothing bad happens.
yeah, yeah, nothing
Good
really.
bad
Everyone's
stuff
alright.
happens, but it's it's
It's really
it's
only to
low
Seth
stakes.
Rogen. Yeah. I mean, I guess Seth Rogen, he would have been fine. There was a certain amount of finality that they did have to use in the movie just to cap it
Mhm.
off and feel like give it a proper ending. When in reality, it didn't just like hard cut. It was just a pretty slow fizzle, I'm assuming, of people selling and then maybe buying it back and then
Yeah,
whatever.
after the
Um,
hearing, it really just fell out with him, going off of the internet and saying, "Hey, I'm gonna sell. I've had a great time doing all this with you. I feel like we've accomplished something out of this."
no, didn't he
Uh,
buy more shares
he
right at the
buy
end?
Well, he bought more shares at the end, but in the end time, at the end of this movie, we sort of see him say, "Okay, this is his net worth." He ended up selling out, not
Mm,
selling out, but
yeah,
he ended up
selling.
selling his stock, and he's now sort of off the internet living a private life, which is the
Mm,
best way he could have like done this. His
yeah.
family is now like secure, and he had a great time leading what was a pretty big anti Wall Street movement.
I mean, the most money that we hear him make is $22 million, that he's made in investments on Robinhood, and he was just refusing to sell. And I'm
I think
sure
it
it was
was
more than
60
that.
million, maybe.
That was the first number I remember. But
Okay,
either way, it was an insane amount of money.
an
Um,
insane amount of money.
I really can't think of too much else to say about this movie. I mean, the shots
No.
were all really nice. There wasn't any shot that I thought it was gross or like unnecessary. They all fit pretty well. They were all pretty seamless with each
Oh,
other.
so you like the shot of, Paul Dano and, Pete Davidson's ass, huh? Where they're
What?
running around. Did you not stick around for the ending?
Is there an end credit scene?
Well, did you not see Paul Dano and Pete Davidson running around the track naked during a thunderstorm?
I did not see them running with their dick
Oh
out.
my
No.
god. Yeah, I mean,
What?
it's a phrase throughout the entire movie where Pete Davidson says that Paul Dano needs to run, through a storm with his dick out, and then at the end of the movie, you literally see them butt naked running through a storm with their dicks out. You missed that,
Dude.
man?
I'm not even I'm considering rewatching it to that's I'm so disappointed.
No
Oh my
dong is
god.
showed. No dong. But,
I
you
don't
know,
care. That's funny.
they're just like Paul
Oh,
Dano's literally like, "I need this to get done really quickly," and they're like, "Yeah, sure, let's go."
dude, that's so funny. I'm gonna buy this on Blu-ray just to rewatch that. Jesus. Um, I mean, God, yeah, that's that's really bad. Overall, I mean, I don't really have anything else to say that I can think of. Do you? You have anything?
No, I think we could go ahead and rate it. What do
God,
you what
loser. Anyway,
shut ugh.
I'm giving it a I'm gonna give it, I'm gonna say a 4. Um,
Yeah.
not necessarily it's a 4 with, like, an asterisk. I'm giving it a 4 because of how well they did this story and how well it kept me entertained and kept my attention for
Mhm.
such a boring fucking, like, plot line of literally the stock market. That's a fucking slog.
Yeah.
And they kept my attention the entire time, and, I mean, I bitch about runtimes all the
Mhm.
time, and this was fine for me.
Yeah.
And so I'm gonna give it a 4 just because I really enjoyed it. I think what they did was really great. I can't think of how you would do it better. Um, and I just
Mm,
hope there are more, of this kind of movie where we're not treated like an idiot with these stories.
yeah. I'll have to agree with most of your points. This is probably the best version of this sort of story that you can get out of it. We had some great characters and stuff like that. My only qualms with it really is usually this isn't my type of movie. They did really good in that aspect. I think there should have been less licensed music, but
Mm.
I'm gonna give it probably 3.5. This is a very good movie. It's not
Yeah,
necessarily like what I consider a classic or anything like that, but this
this
is
isn't a
something.
movie where I would go up to anyone and be like, "It's amazing." But if anyone ever asked me about it, I'd be like, "No, it's actually good. You should watch it."
Yeah, this is
No,
a
like that's the
movie.
kind of attitude.
If this was your date night movie, it wouldn't be the worst.
No, you could
This
take
is
this to dinner. It'd
this
be
is
okay.
probably a great date night movie where it's like just like,
I don't think it is. I don't
well,
think the stock market biopic is a good date night
dude,
movie. Do you have any news or anything? I mean, the writer strikes did end. The
yep,
SAG strikes are still going, but the writer strikes are finished. So we're
yep.
good. That's set. Happy
Well,
there.
okay. Hopefully it ends. The
Oh,
the the
never
tentative
mind.
agreement, the tentative agreement was agreed upon this Sunday. Um, what that means is that everybody at the table agreed to the papers. Now they're going to go to every WGA board member, and if a majority of people agree to it, then it's finalized. And that was going to be
Mhm.
this Tuesday. We're recording on Monday. Um,
Sunday, Sunday, Sunday. Your family can eat again. That's all I
okay,
thought
so
when you said Sunday. Sorry.
so so it more than likely they're going to agree to this. This is a very well thought out strike, and I'm really hoping by the time you hear this, the strike will be over. The second, or I guess I can move into this right after. The second that the contract was agreed upon by the first parties, Peacock immediate or NBC immediately announced that they're doing an Office remake. They've been
Oh,
holding that out for a while.
God, I'm so unhappy about it.
Hmm. Why
I
do we
don't
need it?
reboot an Office reboot.
This is like
So
the second Office.
they're just well, yeah, they had the British one that no one liked, and then the American one took off, and now they're just doing more of the American one, I guess, with the same guy who led the first one, which
Hmm.
I don't want. I don't want that sitcom style comedy anymore.
I'm fine with that sitcom style comedy, but
I
there's
just
just
mean
not
the Office.
offices anymore.
I mean the Office specifically sitcom. I don't want the Office.
Hmm.
Did you ever watch it?
I've watched like maybe up to episode 4.
So like no. Y-
No, I
Yeah,
refuse.
I that's okay.
I've done
I
it once
watched
on a date night.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I watched the full thing. I watched the full thing through like once. I remember when I
God
was younger on
damn.
my Nintendo DSi with the Netflix app installed. I
God, you're a
watched The
veteran.
Office on. I know, I'm sick. Um, but I remember it being kind of funny, but there were a lot of bits where if I think about it now, it's just not. It's just not.
Yeah.
And so I really don't want that. I just don't want The Office again.
I mean, there are shows that are doing really great in this mockumentary style platform we have now. First thing that comes to mind is Abbott Elementary. People have been loving that show.
I've
If
not what?
Abbott Elementary,
I don't know what that is.
it's a pretty fun show, just about like a sort of a low budget elementary school and the teachers in it. It's all right,
Is it like Greg Abbott or is that just a coinky dink?
just a coinky dink.
Oh, that's kind of disappointing. I was hoping it was gonna be like, dude, do you remember that? God, do you remember that animated show people tried to get off the ground with NFTs? And there was the
Yes,
big Elon Musk baby. That's what I pictured.
but but just with Greg Abbott.
Yeah, like Greg Abbott as the Elon Musk baby is what I was thinking.
You know what? I cannot even envision
Hey,
this
hey, man, if I
in the
pitched it to Adult Swim,
slightest.
I'd probably get a few episodes.
You'd get a pilot for sure.
God, there's so much shit. Dude, the adult animated like TV show genre is so like the BoJack genre is so saturated. It's
It's
gross.
it's very
It's so
saturated. There was
much.
like that one
Especially
firefighter
Netflix.
show. It's
Oh,
all through Netflix
there's so much. There's so much. It's
because
so
that
gross.
Netflix has like infinite money to say, okay, we're gonna do a first season
More
and then
Big
we'll
Mouth.
cancel it. Big Mouth is on season 7, man.
God damn it.
God.
Big Mouth got more seasons than Ash versus Evil Dead.
Ugh. Oh
That's
my
horrible.
god.
That's so sad.
Rick and Morty season 7 has had its
Mhm.
stuff so far. They
Yeah.
just revealed the new voices. What's your opinion?
I think they sound really good.
Yeah.
In the little video I did see that was released, there was one clip where he says like, "Who's ready for Rick's famous spaghetti?" or some shit, where it really does not sound like Rick. But besides that, I think just because he's sounding like happy and excited, and that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
But overall, I think both the Rick and the Morty voice were really spot. Morty was spot on,
Morty's
but
spot
Rick,
on.
yeah, Rick was really, really close. I think as close as they can get.
I should have probably been Rick. I'm not gonna lie.
Morty, don't do that. Stop.
Morty! Morty, fuck you! Morty! I hate your Ren and Stimpy voice. I hate it so much.
Morty, the mutagen. He's mutating. He can't.
Oh my god, it's so horrible. It's like
You know
the
what?
best.
Upcoming movies. I'm really excited about Napoleon. I know I
Mhm.
saw a trailer for it, and then there were a few movies that when I went to see Dumb Money today, the trailers looked really good. I'm kind of
Yeah.
excited for the movies that are coming up.
Yeah, we're in I guess the holidays are usually known as a festival season, so we're going to be getting good movies right about now.
Oh, the new Venom comes out next year.
Venom 3?
Yeah.
What's the name of it?
Oh, it's untitled. It just says 2024.
Damn.
The Five Nights at Freddy's movie, I
Mhm.
laughed so hard.
Horrible trailer.
Dude, when the camera turns around and it's like it's Five Nights at Freddy's 1 characters.
Mhm.
And but then like Michael Afton's also there, the big baddie of like all the games and stuff, and he looks really bad, but all of the animatronics look fine.
They
They're
look
just so goofy. I can't be scared of them.
well,
If the
yeah.
camera pans and Chica's just standing there deadpan just staring at you and there's no stinger or anything, it's just quiet. And I laughed so hard in the theater. Like it echoed.
It's
No one was
perfectly
there, so it helped, but
it's perfectly aligned with like what their player models are. The only thing is that the only time we really see their original player models anymore, just the original models look kind of stupid now that we're just so used to like the meme culture around them.
it's
Not
just
only
so
that, but
yeah.
like I don't know, in the first game it was cool only because we got to see it from security cameras and we didn't see them move. Seeing them
Yeah.
move makes them look like cuddly.
Even Foxy seeing Foxy run down the hallway, it was like this really stiff and he looked goofy. And like the most you see of them is they like jump at you or they peek in
Mhm.
the door. So you didn't see the characters a lot. They totally should have done like 3 or 2, anything else, any other game really. Actually, no. They should have done I think they just should have done the newest one actually.
Security breach?
That would have been I think the best.
I think they should have made an amalgamation of all of them, honestly.
That's true. I think this is gonna feel like you remember when YouTube was doing YouTube Red with all those TV shows?
Yes.
I think it's gonna
Yes, I
feel like
do.
a YouTube Red movie.
A YouTube original? Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
you know what I mean? That's just what the
Yeah.
trailer gave to me, and that might just be because I've seen
No, yeah,
people
it's
do
gonna
the
be
Five
like
Nights at Freddy's shit online for so many
Mhm.
years.
Yeah.
So we've seen people do this. It's just supposed to be serious now with the dude from the Hunger Games, and so
Yeah.
whatever. The
It's
new
like
Hunger Games,
the
I'm not excited for at all.
songbirds and snakes. Yeah, not I'm not particularly interested. Peter Dinklage is gonna be in it. He's
Yeah,
always
Peter
good.
Dinky, he's gonna be there.
Petey Dinky.
PDD, yeah, that's what I call him. We're buds, me and Pete. Um,
Do you
Not
ever
Pete
think
Davidson though.
you think anybody ever says Pete for short?
I don't think they can say the whole thing. Can I call you Pete for sure?
He just gives them a death stare.
What do you mean? You know, I was an underdog. You know that, right? I can't believe he was an underdog. That's so funny to
This
think about.
dude, he's entering into his third superhero movie now. I think
With what
next
the
year.
Toxic Avenger?
Yeah, his it's Underdog, then Avengers Infinity War,
Was
and
he in
then
Infinity War?
remember he was that giant dude.
What?
that made the hammer or the axe.
Oh yeah, he was. He
Yeah,
just
he
looked
was.
all scuffed. Yeah, he
Yeah,
was.
that's what dying means. Yeah, he was good in that.
My hands are metal. That's all I remember.
Yeah, but
I don't have any news. Yeah.
I have one more piece. I maybe two, but there's one that's more important. Martin Scorsese is going through his PR thing to rev up Killers of the Flower Moon. It's
He
really
says we need to
interesting.
save movies.
I mean,
That's what he said.
well, I mean, yeah, I think he did say that. His interview with GQ is really interesting. I think you guys should read it. But he talks about how his love for film came out of him being stuck at home. Maybe not stuck at home, but it came from him being unable to relate to other kids because of his asthma. So he wasn't able to be pushed into athletics or stuff. So that found him going to cinemas more. He talked about how he's like, I can do this movie and maybe two more, and then I'm dead.
Damn.
He's old, man. He's
Yeah.
talking about interesting stuff like that, and I think most of his Marvel opinions were were really controversial back when Infinity War was really big, which is when he first said it.
Well,
And
the quote I saw today
yeah,
was he said that he is scared for the movie industry because of how many comic book movies we've had. Like the two that were shown were Fast and Furious and Marvel movies. He
hmm
says he's scared people will think that is all movies are, and that they'll forget like other like cinematic stories, which I think is
hmm
such a load. Shut the fuck up. No, they won't. They won't. They just want to watch the superhero movie. They'll know
yeah.
there's other shit. They just don't want to look at it because they're like, haha, big explosion.
I think like generationally, there's going to be a shift in what we considered art films based off of what films like those kids watch.
Yeah, I
But
think the
that's
definition of an artsy, like quote unquote artsy film is completely different than what it was, say, like even 20 years ago.
oh yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
It's just about change. Uh, I think what he's maybe saying is talking about what will make money, and if we're just going to keep making movies that get money, then that could be a certain thing. Because Marvel, even though they keep piling shit, they keep getting a good amount of money.
Yeah,
Um,
they make someone. They're just a fucking money machine.
yeah. If in that aspect, I could see like a big shift happening for where we put our money in films. But we had such a good year where people went out and saw good movies and stopped watching bad ones. I'm a little bit more hopeful seeing what's been the trend in 2023. There's one more piece of news if we really want it. This is
What?
oh sure. Chris Pine gave his directorial debut with the movie Pool Man recently,
Mm-hmm.
and everyone thinks it's shit.
Oh, Chris Pine.
Poor piss Chris Pine. Can I
Poor
give
Piss
you
Pine. Is that what
piss
you're gonna
pine? That was a
say?
mistake.
Poor Piss Pine, man.
What's
Yeah,
funny
poor
is
guy.
it's for sure that's not the first time that's been said. It's
Oh
for
no,
sure
that
been
was his
said to him.
nickname. Yeah, Piss Pine, come here. Oh fuck. Yeah.
My favorite review for it though came from Discussing Film. Its review was filmmaking requires competency and Chris Pine demonstrates none of that. Jesus.
Oh man, that's so brutal. Poor Chris Pine. Oh man.
Yeah, he seems like a nice guy.
Yeah. Well, he's
Some
just
people
doing his
just aren't
best.
made for directing.
He's just a little silly guy. He's doing his best.
He was great on Dungeons and Dragons. I've heard.
I
I
did
haven't
enjoy
seen
him.
it.
Yeah. You didn't see it? It was good.
Yeah, I might watch it soon. It's
It
on
was a
streaming.
it was a fun fantasy movie where nothing really mattered.
Yeah.
I think that's okay.
Yeah. Um, I just remember seeing that scene where he like glitches out, and that's like
What? What?
there's one scene where he's like playing a lyre or something that's like a hologram, and he just goes wah 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 wah.
I don't remember that at all.
Mm, I don't know. I'll try to find it.
Damn. No, it's okay.
You don't want it?
Yeah, I'll look it up later. It's all right.
Okay. Well, if you don't have any news, then
Oh, actually, one thing I found out, it was just like a few minutes ago. The episode's actually over. So thank you guys for listening. I hope you enjoyed WAM episode 13. This has been WAM.
You've been whammed. Great
All right.
outro.
Yep. See you guys. Bye.
Bye.